Great. So I have the incredible honor of getting us kicked off, and Kathleen Caldwell is the CEO of Caldwell Consulting Group and the founder of the C-Suite Network, Women's Coaching and Consulting Council, and of course, the Women's Success Accelerator. And we all know that that is the perfect natural fit for everything that Kathleen embodies here in the C-Suite Network and every community she's a part of, and all of the gives she does. It's just, you can't not feel it in everything. She helps guide and mentor successful women in business to achieve greater impact, income, and thought leadership. And her clients are female executives and business owners and coaches and consultants that want to be building that next level, that greater success, and certainly the connection in terms of our personal lives and the impact that we want to have in terms of our mission and purpose. So Kathleen, as always, I am so thrilled to get things kicked off for the Women's Coaching and Consulting Council today and with you. And I know we have an amazing topic as always. So to be unstoppable, overcome those obstacles and achieve greater success. And man alive, those obstacles, I mean, it can be the littlest things and the most enormous things. In community, they become smaller, thank goodness, and achievable. But over to you, Kathleen. I know we're in store for a great conversation today.
Thank you, Trisha, Ben. Oh my goodness. Let's take ourselves off mute and give Trisha, Ben, a beautiful welcome as well. Yes. Woo-hoo. Yes, very thrilled. We know we've got other sisters joining us. Great, good. If you are not aware, you must get connected to Trisha, Ben. And, you know, we do the Mutual Admiration Society with authenticity and lots of heart. Trisha, Ben is CEO of C-Suite Network. And what a powerhouse woman you are, Trisha, longtime friend. I think we're going on now 8 years. And yeah, so excited. And thank you for kicking our program off. So greetings to each of you. So happy everybody's here. Oh my goodness. Trisha, thank you. Liz, so glad you're here. Susan, really glad you're here. Michelle, love having you here. Yeah, so excited to see you. Mayong, happy that you're here. Jamie Maravich, of course, as well, another longtime sister friend. So we've got a topic that is so meaningful to me today, and I hope to you as well. So my intention is that we're going to jump in and kind of look at being unstoppable, obstacles, how to be more powerful in our lives, no matter our circumstances, okay? So my commitment today is that this is going to move fast. It's going to be really deep. And I promise you're going to leave with a new perspective, a new embodiment, mind, heart, and soul of what it means for you to be unstoppable. Okay, so shall we go? Okay, let's jump in. I have just some slides because, you know, I like to roll that way, and just jump in. So here we go. Okay, very nice. So thank you again, Trisha, for the beautiful, lovely introduction. Again, I'm Kathleen Caldwell, founder of C-Suite Network's Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. We're up to big things, sisters, and I think including thought leaders and experts in our council, now more than ever, we've got to be on our game to have a big voice, have a big point of view in the world, and have the companies that we work for and our colleagues and our clients out there in the world really seeing us, so we can be seen, heard, and richly rewarded. So today's topic is really important. I'm also a speaker, I'm an author, and I'm a lover of all things ballroom dancing with my beloved husband, Michael. So I just want you to know that. Yes, thank you. So unstoppable, I want to get your voices in here because this is going to be very interactive and we're going to move at a very fast pace today. So just curious if someone would, I want to get your voices in, the meaning and definition of unstoppable. Who would like to jump in and read that for us, please? Just take yourself off mute and just jump right in.
I will.
Thank you very much.
It can be used as an adjective. It means incapable of being stopped. It also means that which cannot be stopped or surpassed. It means being unbeatable.
Whoa. Kisses to you, Michelle. Wonderful. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Unstoppable. And it's interesting. I mean, to have a word that is like un something or other. But my question for each of you, and to stop and ponder this, is what does being unstoppable mean to you? Personally, professionally, in any area of your life that's important to you. Because, we spread it out. We're talking about business, we're talking about career, we're also talking about personally, in the areas of life that are important to us. So I want to just pause for a second and just think about, what does being unstoppable mean to you? Because you've all had experiences about being unstoppable, but let's own it. What does it mean to you?
I think for me, it means being consistently motivating and motivating others, making sure you've got your mojo going for you, working for you. That's part of what I do every day is hope to inspire people and motivate them to their next, whatever their next is.
Thank you, Liz. Yeah, beautiful. Kisses to you. Yes. Yeah. Who else? Being unstoppable. Because you all know what it means. You're living it in areas of your life. Yeah, Susan, thank you.
To me, it also means that even when times are tough,
Mm,
you recognize what you need to do to make yourself be able to move forward. And sometimes that is a step backwards before it's a step forward. It's taking that time to reframe if you need to. It's taking that time to give yourself the TLC you need and really be vulnerable at those moments to ask for help sometimes, instead of thinking I'm unstoppable because I'm going to beat the wall down. Instead, sometimes it's about coming together with others so that we can move forward in a beautiful way.
very awesome, Susan. Very, very awesome. Yes, yes. Thank you to you. Yeah, yeah. Doesn't being unstoppable sometimes have kind of a, not a right or wrong here, but kind of like a push kind of feeling to it, like a masculine energy. Again, there's nothing wrong here. I just noticed, for me, sometimes unstoppable means going, 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 going until I drop, which is obviously not very good for anyone, Yeah. How about you? What does unstoppable mean for you? And Young, your
Yeah.
artwork in the background is so pretty and so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. This
Yeah.
is what we do at Area 15.
Nice.
Yes. I have to agree with Susan on being unstoppable, right? Being resilient when you're at the low point. I think we all experience the ups and downs, and knowing when we need help, knowing when we need support, and be brave enough to seek out what we need to be okay and to get back up and keep going is the critical. Reaching out to the source and find ways to get the support that you need.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic. Yes, yes, thank you. Yeah, yeah. How about others? What does unstoppable mean to you? Because you've experienced it in your life, and is it kind of a thing for you where you know it when you feel it, or you know it when you do it? Is it like is there an essence about it? Trisha, you're going to jump in.
To me, it's the determination. So I've joked about the title of DLS, that I would take a DLS over any other title any day for any role, and that's being a determined little shit. And so, you can say unstoppable. There are a lot of more politically correct ways of describing it. But at the end of the day, what it says, I think, is my mission is so important. The people I serve are so important. The success I want to be able to see for everyone I care about is so important that one way or another, I'm going to deliver on this. And so for me, that's determination and commitment to the mission and the people we serve. And then that makes everything so much easier. It's no less painful, I think, but it's easier, to know that you're going to get there. It might take you a little longer, might be a little more, it might be a few more pounds of flesh here and there, but you're going to get there.
Awesome. Awesome. Trisha, thank you. Yeah. Unstoppable. And I start with this curious question because, it's a thing where if I don't know what it is for me, how can I possibly, be able to characterize it, quantify it, and be able to somewhat even kind of turn on the facility, this acumen, unless I know what it is. And what I want to talk about in a moment here is, what is it not for us? Because for me, there are a lot of things that get me off my track from being and feeling unstoppable. And I hope you can relate to them. I made a nice long laundry list, so at least there's one on there for you. It's a free opportunity. Yeah. Anyone else before we move along? What does unstoppable mean to you?
I would just add, like, it's confidence, and it's just a belief and a dedication to that belief. So not letting yourself settle for less than you're capable of.
Beautiful. And may I lean in and also say that Jamie Maravich is one of the most unstoppable women on the planet.
Thank you.
I have known Jamie for probably 15 years in my local county, and Jamie makes it happen.
Thank you.
Makes it happen. I mean that. Yeah. So isn't it curious, sisters, that the most unstoppable women here are on this little interactive gathering, this live stream, to talk about unstoppable? Isn't that kind of curious, Interesting. Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else before we move along? What is unstoppable to you? Great definitions. Yeah. So let's jump in and keep going, because I personally think, to define for myself what is unstoppable, what is like the beingness of it, and of course the doingness of it, what does it mean to me? And I also want to frame this whole live stream, this conversation with each of you, to add so much value that you can now kind of move into something like, what is important to you in this moment? And it's not, it's not something you need to declare, or if you don't want to, no problem, but stop and think. Let's look through the lens. I encourage all of us and invite us to look through the lens of being unstoppable in an area of life that's important to us right now. So, maybe it's a problem, maybe it's an opportunity, maybe it's an issue. My beloved sweetheart is having some health issues. And so, in this life's in session, sisters, right? Life's up. And so I'm looking through the lens right now for today, and you being here with me is such a gift to me, because I get to be unstoppable and look through the lens of, health issues through, how can I be unstoppable? How can I help my beloved be unstoppable in the face of a lot of stuff, So that's kind of the lens that I'm looking through. Tomorrow, it may be something else, but, just kind of curious for each of you. I'll just pause for a second. If you wanted to share, is it business? Is it personal? And, we don't have to get into the logistics and details, but, is there something that's kind of on your mind and heart about being unstoppable?
I have.
Oh yeah.
No, go, Michelle.
Yeah. Thanks, Michelle. Jump in. Yeah.
Kathleen, you have been so gracious to continually invite me to things over the years, and I have accepted and then not attended because I always let my job eat my life. And I was laid off from Carvana in November. And so the thing that's important to me right now is trying to figure out, am I going to go do that again? Or am I going to completely change my trajectory? Because I now live in Arizona. I have my elderly mother living with me who's got some mild dementia. I'm dealing with so many other things. What's important to me is figuring out what's next for me. And I think what the title of this session did for me when I saw it was say, this is one that you cannot let your life get in the way of you not attending this. And so I share that with you today. And thank you for continuing to invite me.
Thank you. Yes, I've been whispering to the world for a long time. And so when, for all of us, we have our whisper, and then when it's the right time and, the timing is right, people can hear it. So it's all good, right? That's being unstoppable for me. Yeah.
Yeah, Michelle, Is it okay if I comment on what Michelle just said?
Of course. Yes, please.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So Michelle, several years ago, I got let go from a corporate job that I had been in for a really long time, and it had become my basically my identity. And during that time, conveniently, I was also taking a trip over to Africa, to Kenya, Africa. And I share this because it's one of my transformative periods where I went to Africa, to a place where these kids and people had absolutely nothing. It was in a Maasai village. It was helping a private school over there. And I have to say, they had absolutely nothing. And they were so joyous. They were such beautiful people and so rich with just the very simple basics. And I said to myself, this is time for me to think about what I'm really giving back to the world. So I'm in a very similar boat. I was in a similar boat to where you are. And at that period of time, I decided, you know what, I want to kind of change my path in life. And I had lost my mom, and my dad is now close to me as well. And I do a lot of caring for him. And I basically said, you know what, I'm going to start my own thing. And for me, it was a brand and marketing firm. That's what I've been doing, all my career. And it was about, instead of doing it for big profit, it was doing it for nonprofits, women-owned businesses, and startups that were doing good in the world. And I got to say, that changed my trajectory. And although I'm not making the money I was making, I am so more rich inside for having made that. And my life is flexible. It's my own company. I can go take care of my dad when he needs to go. And I just want to encourage you. I feel like it took me a while to hit that unstoppable perspective. I was really bummed out about losing that point in my identity. And then I used that to pick myself up and create a completely different lifestyle for myself, where also I have two kids, one in college and one getting ready to go. And I've spent so much quality time with them because of that. So this could be a really great unstoppable moment for you, is all I wanted to share.
Thank you for sharing your story, Liz. I really appreciate it.
And
Absolutely.
I want to echo that, in that being older than most of you, I have been through more than one of those transitions. And we do get identified by what we were doing by others. And they will look at you and make comments about, why are you making these choices? Because they're living in fear. They don't have the ability to look at the possibilities because of how big a hold they have on what has been the security of the past, instead of understanding the opportunity of the future and what you have as a plan for you that truly, truly allows you to be your best self, serve those around you in the very best way, and make a life that shines completely different than what they've ever known you to be. And so sometimes it's that outside caring from others that really creates a framework that is holding you back from being unstoppable in the thing that will make you fabulous and great in the way you really want to live your life. So bravo to both of you women for being able to address that and talk about the importance of it. And when you say that about being in Arizona, one of my big ones was while I was there, and I was cashiering as a grocer in a grocery store, having been laid off from being a VP in a large company. And somebody came through my line crying because to her, that was a very small thing for me to be doing. And I could literally look at her and say, I'm doing something on the side that's building my framework for me. This is just putting groceries on the table. You can take on those small jobs sometimes as a way to bridge where you were to where you want to go. And there's no shame in that either. There's no shame in doing what you need to do to take care of yourself and your family in a very, very different way.
Beautiful, Susan. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
I was just saying thank you for that.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So, the phrase that hello, life is in session is up now. So, thinking about customizing kind of the rest of your experience with our time together is what's important to you, and what's top of mind. And I get a lot more if I think, okay, well, I want to use this time to focus in on this, so I can, by the end of our time, I'd like for each of us to have a breakthrough in thinking, a breakthrough in a new perspective on being more unstoppable. Okay. So let me continue here. And what I'd like to do is just share with you, thinking about with the framework of what's important to you right now, is I'm leaning into this because, I submitted an article to, I'll just say Shaw Media. Jamie knows who that is. And the title of the article was WTF. And then it was something after that. And they said, at the time it was like, what the, was the acronym. And I'm still using that. I didn't mean that. I meant, what's the focus? Okay. What's the focus? So when it comes to being unstoppable, what's your focus? Is it on the word unstoppable? Is it on the word stop or on the word able? Unstoppable. Is it on the word stop or able? Curious, kind of interesting. And for me, these are all things that have stopped me. And I hope that you'll be in the sisterhood, because we're going to transform this by the end, I promise. But, this kind of, for me, like all or nothing thinking, it's like the pendulum. It's like I'm all in or I'm not. And there's like nothing in the middle. Also, what's tripped me up of stoppable thinking is overthinking, comparing, ruminating, perfectionism. I highly recommend one of my most favorite books, Dr. Daniel Amen, Unleash the Power of the Female Brain. Fantastic book. Oh my goodness gracious. Great book. Because Dr. Amen goes in and talks about ants, automatic negative thinking. We women are like, we got them. We got ants in our head. So ruminating, overthinking, perfectionism, comparison. Also, I've dealt with stoppable symptoms that I've had are like distractions or doubt. Oh my goodness. Why is it that sometimes when I know I've made a date with myself to get down to my basement and do my workout, all of a sudden I absolutely must clean that one cabinet and clean out that one drawer at that one time. It's like, it's never more important than right there in that moment, so distractions, that makes me stop. And then of course, finally, confusing the facts with the meaning. Whoa, something happened. And I like make it mean all kinds of crazy stuff that it doesn't mean, client said this and I made it mean, wow, I must not be very good at being a coach. Or the opposite of like, the facts are they did this. And then I made it mean like, well, gosh, I must be a really great coach, for this to happen. So it's like, no, the facts are just the facts. And we get to choose our own meaning. And these distinctions, sisters. But the other thing that I find is stoppable for me. So just thinking for yourself, kind of which of these kind of resonates with you in the area that's important to you is, whose voice are you really listening to? Really? And so for me, am I listening when I want to be unstoppable? Is the voice that I'm hearing, the committee in my head saying, I don't think you can do that. You've tried it before. I don't really wanna. Oh gosh, when you've tried that before, you just kind of quit in the middle or something like that. Or it's just so big. I don't know if you can do that. So just identifying like whose voice really is that? Is it the judger, the complainer, the quitter voice? And some people say, just push that voice away. I like to say, I want to own those voices from the perspective of like, it's a clue for me. All right, what do I really need to know now? What do I need to hear? How can maybe that little voice needs comforting. So my perspective is a little bit different on that, but do what works for you. And then finally, stoppable. What stops me is lone wolf thinking. I have to do this all on my own. I don't want to depend on anybody else because it makes me feel weak. Or vulnerable, or I have to be, beholden to somebody else. It's like, I'll just do it myself. Got that from my mother, a great doer. And then finally, old beliefs that do not serve me. Old beliefs. Like if it's going to get done, I have to do it myself, or it's either perfect or it's not good at all, So just curious for each of you, any of these voices in your head. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. Here we go. Voices. All or nothing thinking, comparison, perfectionism, doubts, distractions, confusion. Sometimes, I don't know if you can relate to this. Sometimes I've just kind of kept myself confused to then use that as an excuse to not moving forward. And sisters, I'm just laying it all out here. Okay. I'm being very vulnerable to lay it all out.
Kathleen, I think at some point we have experienced all of those. I mean, you really did a great job in identifying those.
It was
And
easy, Susan.
and
was
I
so
just
easy.
picked up the book. Now I just had the title in my brain, and now I'm like going, what was it? About calm. Hold on here, because I'm finishing
Mm.
it on Audible. Deliberate calm, and they
Ah.
just one of the chapters is really talking about that, how you hear something versus what's really being offered to you. As a woman was presenting something, and the boss she was presenting to was actually getting texts about a disaster in her family, and so she looked distracted, and instead of being open to maybe this woman had something coming in that had nothing to do with her presentation, the presenter got completely lost in the, oh my God, she doesn't like me, she doesn't like it, she doesn't like anything I've said. And then when they both caught up later, the boss did the same thing by just jumping in with, I want to talk more, and the gal already assumed it was all wrong and is apologizing. So neither one ever got what they needed, because neither one could be open about what they had experienced in that moment. And I think so many times that we read into it from what we have had as past experience, instead of truly being open to saying, I see you look slightly distracted. Is there something we need to address? Sometimes you have to interrupt what's going on to face it, and other times you just have to let it go and wait for them to be able to talk to you about it in a sane manner at another point. Those things become difficult to balance out sometimes. Yes.
Right on. Oh my goodness. But noticing, what's really happening here, right? Being alert and aware. Yeah. So for each of you, thanks for putting so many beautiful things in the chat here. Yeah. There's something that, resonates also in that multiple list, or feel free, yes, we are recording, but, put it in the chat if you'd like to. Is there something else that kind of gets in the way of being unstoppable? Maybe you've seen other women experience this too. Yeah. It's an important topic. So kind of to know what our rhythm is, what's our recipe? Yeah. Trisha, how about you?
I am constantly having the inner dialogue, Kathleen, and I just think it's so powerful for you to share first your vulnerability in sharing these things, because it's literally like saying, here's my kryptonite, and if you really like to trigger me, here you go. And that's another part of our inner dialogue of things that slow us down and so on, is if I reveal, then I'm literally saying, here's the chink in my armor, and if you put the sword right here. So first, thank you. I think if we don't acknowledge it, where those inner dialogue pieces are, then we're not able to grab hold of them. And so I love what you shared about that. So these are all voices that every human being has in their head, unless they're literally have some kind of mental damage, right? Like some sort of brain damage or trauma. There are circumstances where that is a physical scenario. Other than that, we all have those voices, and how we embrace them, hold them, and let them help us to succeed, I think is really the magic of it. So my internal dialogue with those voices is no excuses. Love you, Trisha, love you, team, love you, everybody, but no excuses. They can be the loveliest of excuses. They can be the perfect, most logical reasons, but they're excuses, etc. And so I have a constant inner dialogue of what's an excuse and where I'm trying to go. And so that's where my my conversation is happening. I could say, this is the reason this didn't happen, or I can be entirely focused on this is where I am going to make it happen. And I've got to renegotiate around what's happening right now. Right now, I have to send out an investor letter to dozens of investors personally, individually, explaining what's happening with our accountants having new requirements for K1s. It's slowing down the process this year. I don't know if everyone is addressing this. I could say there's an excuse here, but I'm not. I'm saying my apologies. It's an inconvenience. I can't control it. I'm doing everything I can to control it, but this is where we are. So no excuses. I'm moving forward. We're delivering as we can. We're communicating as we can. And that's where we are. So anyway, I feel like the more we can embrace that inner dialogue, the more we can get to the refocus of what we're going to deliver on for who we care about and what we've promised.
Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yes. Thank you, Tricia. And, moving forward, my curious question I ask myself this all the time is, how much energy am I wasting or dispersing or leaking? How much energy have I just used in the ruminating, the overthinking, the perfectionism, the things that I've been stopped by in the past? A lot of energy, and it has a feeling in it. So can you all relate to that? The whatever is stopping us has an energy about it, a feeling about it, a certain way. Yeah. And so just even from today's time together, just noticing how it feels and noticing, what the repercussions of it are to your energy, your well-being, your peace of mind, your happiness, and maybe even just quieting it. Yeah. So let's jump in and continue on. So we kind of know the things that stop us. Let's get unstopped, sisters. Okay, let's get unstopped here. So just knowing these things, I think it's really, really powerful. And, just thinking for ourselves again, what's our little recipe? What's our little special secret sauce on, where and how do we stop ourselves, or what triggers things? Sometimes in relationships, he or she will do something and then that causes us to react and we get stopped. So, all kinds of scenarios, the kids do things, the partners do things, the parents do things, or society, even sometimes just turning on the news or reading a newspaper or news feed. I just notice my energy goes, whoa. How can I create something beautiful if my energy is so low? Okay. So just noticing that. And I think cherishing and really shielding ourselves so we can be unstoppable. Okay. So instead, what I'd like to do going forward as we, kind of move into the next phase of our program, our live stream here, is to start to embrace more empowering ways to be unstoppable and move into instead of the stop thinking, into the able thinking. I'm able to do these things. And then what I want to do is move into, before we complete our time, a very empowering meditation experience for us, just a really short meditation experience. So you can just for a moment, close your eyes. And I know each of you are not driving or operating heavy machinery. Kind of take a moment for yourself. And we're going to together move into a place of feeling unstoppable, that feeling of your future you pulling you forward, the future you that wants you to be unstoppable, that wants you to be powerful, that wants you to be your healthiest, best self. So we're going to move into that in a little bit. Okay. So just curious, instead of all these stoppable kinds of thoughts, what about something like, and if you, I'd love to get your voice in here. If you want to read these, that would be, I want to hear your voice say these things. So instead of like, hey, gosh, I don't know if I can do it. I don't really have the time, the resources, blah, blah, blah. These are some other ways of empowering yourself. Anybody like to volunteer and read the more able thinking and affirmations? Because guess what? When you read it, you own it,
Sure.
sisters.
I'll do it.
Thank you, Liz. Thank
Yep.
you. Okay.
I have abundant reserves and resources. I continue to develop and invest in myself. I make it easy. I've got this.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And Jamie reminded me of I've got this about maybe 13 years ago. She reminded me of that beautiful affirmation. I've got this. Yeah. And so, and I've got another page of these, but thinking about being, instead of focusing in on the stop part of, wanting something, experiencing something, I want this. Okay, here's where I'm stopped. How about into being more able to create it for yourself? And how about, sisters, if it were actually easy? That's one of my mantras is to this year. My affirmation is stronger. That's my word of the year, stronger and easy. What if life and things were easy? Do we make things a little harder than they need to be? Kind of a curious rhetorical question for myself. Is that a habit that I have? Yeah. Yes. Thank you. And then, of course, we've got 3 more here. Let's get and by the way, I'd like to issue a challenge. I'm throwing down the gauntlet, sisters. Let's stop playing small ball here. Okay. Stop playing small ball and play a bigger game. Okay. Just play a bigger game. We all have it in us. Okay. We don't have to do it tomorrow, but let's start playing a bigger game. And so would someone like to read these 3 kind of affirmations and able kind of thinking?
I'll do it. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, there'll be more.
Jamie, go for it, honey.
Come on, Jamie. Come on,
Go
girl.
for it.
Get your voice in here.
Okay. All right. And if you want, I have an anecdote that goes with this of a recent experience where these all fit in. So I just get started one small step at a time. I use my affirmation and celebrate myself. I use the power of proximity and sisterhood.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And you had something to add as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of had I had a transformative moment from an unexpected place that happened last week. And so I'll share this story because it was really meaningful for me and it falls right into this. So my kids wanted to do something for spring break. We didn't have anything planned. We did a last minute trip to Louisville, and they have a place there called the Mega Caverns, which is it's underground, and you've been there, Michelle, maybe. And it's got an aerial ropes course there, and it just looked like fun. I thought all the kids would have fun with it. It's a short video. It looks easy, fun, simple, something different. You're underground, you're doing aerial ropes, little zip lines, whatnot. So I'm there. I sign us all up to do it. My mom, even because she's adventurous, my 2 kids, myself, my kids are 12 and 14. We go on this aerial ropes course, and it's a lot more challenging and scary than I thought. Like it's unstable steps. You're all hooked in, but you got to unhook and then hook and then move, and you're high, and it's like you're jaunting. And I'm like, yeah, maybe I don't need to do this. While I'm taking a few steps, and I'm like, I mean, I paid for it. I don't have to do it. There's no set. You don't have to follow a path. You go wherever you want to go. Let the kids have fun, whatever. But my son taps out pretty early. Like he misstepped in one step, and then he was like, oh, I'm out. And then my mom was sort of like, it was a little challenging for her. And I could have easily just left with them, but my daughter was still going. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll just try the simpler ones, keep going. And then I realized like I wanted to do the zip line, but I didn't feel like I could get to the zip line. And I realized, well, my son tapped out early, and that's a quality that I don't want to reinforce within him. And so I need to lead by example. And so I need to get to this zip line and make this happen. So I had my why all of a sudden, which is my kids. So that's a motivator that makes you a little less stoppable. But I still had my fear, and I still had the hey, if I stop now, who cares, right? Like it doesn't, but the thought in my head was, will I feel better having accomplished this? Or will I have regrets for having not tried, right? So what's the end result? So the guy who worked there was amazing. This kid, like he picked up on everything. He just knew. And I'm just looking at it. I'm figuring out I had to go up these daunting, like this big step thing, but that's uneven. And you have to unhook and hook and hook and like, and you have to stretch down and all this. And he was like, here's the path. You take this one, then you go here, here, here. I'm going to watch you. I'm going to cheer you on. So when you talk about the proximity, he wasn't a sister, but he was, somebody like, lean on other people. You don't have to do it on your own. He's a kid, he works there. And I'm like, I'm going to take his advice. And it took me a while. And then I would go, and within each, I had to get through 4 big obstacles. So when I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Got up to the first one, and you're on this small ledge. I'm like, okay, I could still go back down, but I'm like, I got one. So I'm like, and I literally was saying to myself, like, eye of the tiger, let's go. You're going to go, you're going to do this. And then you go to the next one. And I'm like, oh, and it was, it was like, you're walking across these little chains to get, and you're high up, and you're walking on chains with nothing else in between them, and then the nenext one, you got to get to the next section, which is nothing underneath you. And then like a big kind of like, I don't know, like like the big thing that you hold on to, like ropes and whatever. And then the next one was like uneven walking and all this. But each time I went, I was like, I got this far. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to go. I'm going to go. And then when I get to the zip line part, or then I have to go and let go and zip line, then I'm afraid of that. And I'm like, this is what I was trying to get to. But like, and there's no going back now. But he led me on. He's like, I'm going to be at the end when you go. You got to go. Just push yourself, hold on. Have faith in these things that they're not going to give, and go. And then I did it. And now it felt so good, but it was like proof to me that 1, take it incrementally, 2, give yourself grace, but also know your why and don't give up. Like it would be so easy to give up, and I didn't. And that just showed that was just a metaphor for where I think I needed to center myself in my life in general. Like just go, don't give up. You could do this. That's it.
Big kiss for Jamie. Mwah, mwah. Awesome.
Thank you.
What great learning. What great experiences. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Awesome. I mean, the metaphors, right, sisters? The metaphors and the learning. Yeah. Thank you. Really great. Really, really great. Yeah. And Jamie, I'm curious. My curious question is, did it affirm who you truly know who you are? Or did it give you or did it give you a new renowned experience of who like you could be?
I think the latter. I think for a little while I was feeling a little stagnated and just unsure. I've gone through some transitions of my own that paths I chose to walk down differently. And I was going to open a business and COVID got in the way. And then, now I'm running a nonprofit, which is awesome, but it's different than when I was making more money in for-profit, to your point, Liz, and, where is it? And I still have this, like, what am I supposed to be doing? Is it all of it? And now I feel like I could do, like, I'm supposed to be here, but I could also be doing other things. Like it's time to add to what I'm putting out there, if that makes sense.
Oh, completely. So this could not be more perfect.
Yes, right.
It's like, yeah.
Thank
you. Yeah. And so thank you, Jamie. Because my curious question for each of us is, of course, is who is it? What do you know about yourself? What do you truly know about yourself when it comes to being unstoppable? Because we're going to move into a short experience of feeling unstoppable. But what do you know about yourself, but you pretend that you don't? Really something to ponder, right? What do you for sure know about yourself and who you are in the world, who you are to yourself, your family, your community? But sometimes you pretend that it's like it's untrue, or it's, not true, not 100%, just kind of curious. Yeah. So let's jump in because I really want to have us have an experience of feeling unstoppable and really even claiming for ourselves that thing that we know is true about ourselves. Sometimes we don't acknowledge it, and sometimes we're not like using it in life, that special thing about us that maybe we've forgotten over time. Okay. So in like literally 5 minutes or less, would love to invite you to just sit back in your chair for just a moment. This is an invitation, no need to do it, but love to have you sit back in your chair and just take a couple deep breaths in and out. Just take a moment for yourself, just to relax yourself in and out. And of course, all of our beloved friends that are watching the replay, we know if you're driving a car or operating heavy machinery, you're going to pull to the side of the road, right? We know that. Yeah. So just sitting back, if you'd like to close your eyes, you can. You don't have to. And just taking a couple deep breaths in and out. Relaxing your mind as well as your body. Just relaxing. And what's beautiful is you can use the power of your breath to bring some relaxation to your body. Because when you're relaxed, you can really be unstoppable. You don't need to force it. You don't need to strive. Unstoppable is you. It's you. It's your nature. So I invite you just to bring your attention to your feet and your legs and just progressively bring some relaxation up throughout your body, through your feet, your legs, your rear, your hips, your stomach, your back, your chest. Maybe even stretching a little bit. Oh my goodness, we hold so much in our shoulders. Stretching and relaxing your neck, your face, all the way up to the top of your head. Bringing that relaxation into your body, into your mind. And when thoughts come to you, it's okay. Just let them move across your mind like puffy clouds in the sky. Just let them go across the screen of your mind. Mhm. Yeah. And I invite you now to think about your unstoppable you. Your unstoppable you, that part of you that is unstoppable. Powerful part of you, that strong part of you, that wise part of you that's so unstoppable. The part of you that you like about yourself. She's in there. That part of you that rises to the occasion, rises to the occasion. And maybe it's an essence, you feel an essence or a thought or a feeling. That unstoppable part of you. And when you get a sense or you have a feeling or maybe just even pretending that unstoppable part of you, just give me a little nod and kind of let me know that she's there for you. Yeah. Maybe you feel her next to you or inside of you. And what is the unstoppable part of you, that wise part of you, that caring part of you. What is she saying to you right now? She's whispering something to you. What is she saying? She's giving you a message. That's right. That's right. She's giving you a beautiful message. So in a moment, we can come back to the room feeling refreshed and alert with lots and lots of energy, feeling really good in every way. Remembering that message. Maybe it's a whisper of a word or a phrase. We'll come back to the room feeling really good. Just count up from 1 up to 3. And when we reach 3, just come back when you're ready. So 1 moving up to 2. Taking a nice deep breath. Beautiful. 2 and to 3. Yeah. Feeling really good in every way. That's right. That's right. Almost like you had a 30-minute nap, sisters. Feeling really good. So just curious, yeah. What was the message as we complete our time together? What was the message that your unstoppable you gave you?
We just need to be in joy and really embrace the best in each and every single one of us. And in doing that, we can move forward our best selves and with those around us.
Yeah. Very nice. And I love the chat. Thanks for everything in the chat. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. We could use a massage, right? Book it right after our time together, right? We'll get it scheduled. And then your unstoppable self says, oh, you're listening. Okay, great. Yeah, you're a mover and a shaker, tenacious and persuasive. Wow, beautiful. Really, really great. Really great. Yeah, go. That's it. Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for this beautiful gift of our time together. And just have one more slide I want us to remember. I just invite us to think about just as a final thought here. And remembering the truth. The truth is, you are unstoppable. Because the fire inside of me and the fire inside of you is burning brighter than the fire around me. Okay. So affirming, I am unstoppable because the fire inside of me is burning and is burned brighter than any sort of fire around me. Okay. So sisters, as we complete our time, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You've all got this. There's nothing that's in your way now. There's nothing in your way. Yeah. So with that, lots of love to each of you. Have a beautiful day. Care for each of you, and can't wait to see you on the road on our journey. Okay. Lots of love to you.
Thanks so much,
Be
Katrina.
unstoppable.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Lots of love. Bye-bye. Bye.